Hey everybody, it's low carb and keto nutrition specialist Amy Berger from toitnutrition.com, bringing you, as always, keto without the crazy. Take a look at the notes for the video. I have links to lots of cool stuff that's coming up. The world is opening up. The in-person keto and low carb conferences are starting to happen again. So I am scheduled to speak at 3 of them. Check out, there's links to everything. And every time I post a live, either scheduled or just impromptu pop-up Q&A video or an AMA, Ask Me Anything, it's very popular. Lots of you watch, lots of you ask questions. You can have that every single week. A weekly live Q&A chat discussion if you join me on Patreon, patreon.com/toitnutrition. There's a link below, check it out. If you enjoy those Q&As, again, you can have that every week. Okay, on to the topic. Today I get to do one of the things that I like best, which is rant about dumb things that people say about keto and nutrition and health in general. So I did a video a while back about the phrase, "that's not keto," and how irritating that is because it's just dumb. So I'll put a link to that. That's not keto. The other phrase that I really am not a big fan of is processed food. And there's a lot to unpack here, but one of the problems with the phrase processed food is that it depends on how you define processing. Some people who really like to nitpick will say that cooking is processing. I mean, if you have a steak and you grill it, that's processed. It's a processed food. You cooked it. You have processed it. It is now different than it was when it came out of the cow, right? Chopping vegetables, chopping any kind of meat, chopping anything or slicing or peeling is processing if we really want to nitpick, right? I don't like to nitpick usually. Well, I guess maybe this whole video is nitpicking about the phrase processed food, but I would say most people tend to think of processed food as what in the nutrition published scientific literature they call ultra processed food. It's often abbreviated UPF, ultra processed food. It's the kind of thing where, a few decades ago, Congress in the US, the Congress was talking about pornography. And one of the senators said, they were trying to define pornography. And one of the senators said, "Well, I know it when I see it." And he didn't mean it in the way it came out, but it's like, well, we can't define it, but you know it when you see it. That's how many people think of ultra processed foods. And the scientific literature has definitions for it, but think of something like a brown sugar frosted Pop-Tart in the US. In outside the US, you have similar products like a breakfast pastry that is nothing but flour and sugar and preservatives and garbage. And, or think of ice cream that has pretzels in it and chocolate fudge ripple and peanut butter and caramel and like all kinds of stuff in it. But it's hard to define. So how do we deal with processed foods? Because, one thing that you would think all of the warring nutrition factions, keto, vegan, paleo, Mediterranean, macrobiotic, plant-based, whatever, you would think that one thing we could all agree on is that everybody should avoid ultra-processed foods. I don't agree with that. I don't think everybody needs to avoid processed foods or ultra-processed foods. I think you can lose massive amounts of weight, and I think you can reverse type 2 diabetes and reverse PCOS and reverse fatty, non-alcoholic fatty liver, eating lots of processed foods. But let's talk about how, like why would a nutritionist say that? That's crazy talk. So I have a friend, Siobhan Huggins, and she works with Dave Feldman at cholesterolcode.com. Siobhan has lost a lot of weight. Now she's mostly carnivore, or like all carnivore, but that is neither here nor there. Siobhan said something at an event, I think it was Low Carb Houston, it might have been Low Carb Denver a few years ago. What she said was so simple, and it just kind of came out of her mouth. She was on stage in a panel, and it's so profound. I think about it all the time. And she's not a professional scientist, she's not a professional researcher, she's just someone who said something really brilliant. She said, I don't care how processed a food is, I care about the metabolic effects. What? Put that on stone tablets and send them down from on high, please. I'm going to repeat that. I don't care how processed a food is, I care about the metabolic effects. This is why I said you can lose weight, you can reverse type 2 diabetes, you can reverse PCOS, you can reverse non-alcoholic fatty liver, you can do all that good stuff eating processed foods. You know, if you have type 2 diabetes, get yourself a glucometer, get yourself a CGM, and you can drink a diet soda and see what happens to your blood sugar. And then you can get some organic oranges and squeeze them fresh yourself, you know, cut them in half, squeeze them, or get the juice out of there and drink that glass of organic, fresh squeezed orange juice and see what happens to your blood sugar. One of those foods, now again, we could say that the orange juice is processed because you squeezed the oranges, like that's processing. Anyway, there is a difference there, right? So which one of those is going to be better for you with regard to controlling your blood sugar? You know, what else might be considered an ultra processed food? Some people might say something like pepperoni or salami, like deli lunch meat. You know, it's got dextrose, it's got this, it's got that, it's got BHT and nitrates and whatever. Again, we could quibble about the definition of a processed food. Prosciutto, you know, jamon iberico those are processed foods that people in Italy and Spain have been eating for hundreds of years, possibly thousands of years, but at least hundreds. But that's a very processed food. Something like a cured ham. And yet, if you have metabolic syndrome, gas station pepperoni, gas station string cheese, you know, that you buy at the convenience store at the gas station, is going to be better for your metabolic endocrine control than the gluten-free, organic, small batch, artisanal brown sugar oatmeal. Which is not to say that it's impossible to eat oatmeal and drink orange juice and reverse diabetes. There are people who reverse their diabetes and metabolic syndrome and all that on a very, very low fat, sort of plant-based diet. Fine. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that processed foods and ultra processed foods absolutely can fit into a diet that is going to radically improve your health. I eat processed foods all the time. I drink a lot of beverages that are sugar-free, flavored beverages in some way that have artificial sweetener. I've been using Sweet and Low for over 20 years, 25 years. I mean, I've been putting Sweet and Low in my coffee since I was in college. I've been drinking diet, you know. I actually don't drink much diet soda anymore just because I haven't been in the mood for it in a very long time, but I used to. And no problems with it, you know. And if you don't want to eat or drink any of that stuff, that's fine. You don't have to. If you want to prepare all of your food from scratch and from the, you know, from the local farm, you're just getting beef and pork with no seasoning and chicken and whatever, that's fine. You don't have to eat the processed foods, but they can absolutely be included in a diet that you are using to lose weight or improve a health issue. Let me think. I didn't make any notes. I don't want to forget anything. You know, and this is something I see this in people who write to me sort of out of the blue looking for help or looking for advice, to make people think that you can't ever eat or drink any of that stuff puts a lot of people off from ever trying a low carb or keto diet or any other diet for that matter. If you tell someone that you cannot drink diet soda, you can't put any sweetener in your coffee, you can't have, I don't know what, you know, the almond flour cookie because it has erythritol, or again, the Crystal Light or whatever other thing, the gas station pepperoni, the deli counter roast beef, this processed stuff, some of these people are just never even going to bother trying a low carb or keto diet. They're not even going to bother. I mean, if somebody's currently drinking a 6-pack of full sugar soda, it might be nice if they could give that up completely, quit cold turkey, and just drink water, just drink, unsweetened herbal tea or black coffee. Great. If they could do that, great. But if they are never even gonna try that, not be interested, could they switch to diet? Would that be a huge step in the right direction for their blood sugar or their insulin? Probably. And I personally don't seem to have any reactions or issues with all the various different artificial sweeteners and stuff. And the sugar alcohols are different, but even that, I mean, I will have loose stools if I overdo the mannitol and the maltitol and the sorbitol, but I don't eat a whole lot of that anyway. But the other stuff, if you do react, or if somebody does react, okay, don't use the aspartame. Don't drink Crystal Light. Don't drink the diet sodas that have aspartame. Go for the ones that have stevia or monk fruit. There's thanks to the exploding popularity of low carb and keto diets, there are so many more options. When I was new to this, none of this existed. Zevia did not exist, the Zevia soda, erythritol was not something you could buy in a bag at the store. So we have so many more options that if you don't want to use sucralose, which is Splenda, use something else. If you get headaches and migraines from aspartame, don't use aspartame, or don't use any of them if you don't want to, but don't fearmonger with these other people who are just starting out, or not even, they're not starting out because they just think they can't wrap their head around literally changing every single thing about their diet and life. My co-author on the book, End Your Carb Confusion, Dr. Westman, has been in a clinic for over 20 years dealing with the public, people of all different walks of life, all different socioeconomic statuses, all different education levels, all different income, socioeconomic, all different income levels, all different levels of culinary skill and knowledge. People that cook every meal every day from scratch, people that only go to the drive-thru, they don't even own a pot, not even one pot or pan in their house. And everybody can do great on keto. He sees it all the time because you can go through the fast food drive-thru. If you never ever want to cook ever, you can do keto. You can get the burger patties. You don't even have to order the burger and throw away the bun or ask for no bun. Pro tip, all the carnivores out there have shown us that you can just order burger patties or grilled chicken patties a la carte. Just say, I'll take 3 burger patties, none of the bread, nothing, just the burger, just the meat, and it's cheaper because you're not paying for the bun and the pickles and the tomato and the onions. If you want all that stuff, get the burger without the bun. But if you just want the meat, and anyway, you can do this. You can get a fast food salad. You can get the roast beef sandwich with no burger. Just give me the meat in a container. So you don't have to spend a fortune. I've worked on several small farms in various local areas that I've lived in the last few years. I absolutely 100% support keeping your food dollars local, giving them to the people that produce your food if you can afford it. That food is pricey. That food is expensive. If you can't afford that, should you be relegated to living the rest of your life with morbid obesity, with disability because of your morbid obesity or because of your diabetes? Should you be relegated to extremely expensive and invasive fertility treatments if you have PCOS? No, because you can absolutely do phenomenally on a low carb or keto diet eating cheapo food, eating meat, eating non-starchy vegetables, fatty dairy products, just don't eat the carbs. So let's just stop fear mongering about processed foods and ultra processed foods. The people that want to be pure and holier than thou and stand on their soapbox and tell you that, diet soda is just as bad as the regular thing, excuse me, or rather, excuse you, excuse them. Why don't you get yourself a CGM? Why don't you get yourself a glucometer and then tell me that diet soda is just as bad as the regular thing? So, I don't know if I have anything else to say. I'm just, again, this stupid words that come out of people's mouths that mean nothing. Are we aiming for perfection? Are we aiming to wear some kind of food quality, food provenance halo? Or are we trying to help people get results? Are we trying to help people radically alter their quality of life for the better? It's one of the things I love about keto, and I'm sure it's true to some extent of many other dietary strategies. I just happen to specialize in low carb and keto and even paleo to some extent. Paleo, I guess, is a lot more about the food quality, so strike that from the record. It's one of the things I love about low carb and keto. Low carb and keto have nothing to do with the quality of food you're eating or the kind of food you're eating or where you got it from. What matters is what Siobhan Huggins says, the metabolic effects. What matters is that you construct your diet out of foods and beverages that don't massively jack up your blood sugar and or insulin. And so whether that is plain burger patties from the McDonald's drive-thru, or whether it's the free range, non-corn fed, non-soy fed heritage breed chicken from your local farm, buy what you can afford and what tastes best to you and what fits your metabolic needs. That's it. I think that's all I'm going to say about this for now. I hope that resonates. A while back, I posted a video that was an Aldi haul. I had come back from the grocery store Aldi, and I was showing what I bought. And somebody left a comment that they were going to try keto because they love Aldi, and Aldi's very budget friendly, very inexpensive. They were like, I didn't know I could eat Aldi food and do keto. Because they're hearing that you have to have your, MCT oil and the organic this and the blah blah blah, and you can't have that, and it has to be grass fed. And we are barring entry to so many people who just their life would be changed for the better by eating this way. And so that was so gratifying, and I think maybe I need to start talking about this more. And I would love to do more grocery hauls. I do need to do more of that. But to think that I was just showing what I bought, and because somebody was like, oh, I can get like regular pork and regular beef and regular vegetables at Aldi and do keto? Yes, go forth and prosper. Go eat what you want as long as it's low in carbs, and prosper. Okay, thank you for watching. Again, check out the notes. There's links to everything. I'll put links to the Aldi haul. I'll put a link to that It's Not, That's Not Keto video. Check me out on Patreon. And thank you for watching. If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button. Share these videos far and wide. We're trying to get the numbers up. There's people who post crazy videos that are not helpful at all that have like 47,000 views. I think keto without the crazy needs to get out there. Help me do that. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.